I'm Kusha Karvandi, and you're listening to Exerscribe Radio, the source for biohacking your health to reach your full potential. I created Exerscribe to provide people with a roadmap to working out. With our new workout app, you can get a custom workout program that adapts your workouts to your body type, goals, sleep quality, stress levels, and personal preferences. With live chat support, our workout app has become so comprehensive some call it a personal trainer in your pocket. Our users are seeing over 90% success rates with their goals because we take the neural approach to fitness, meaning we integrate movements and exercises that recalibrate your brain and body to prime you for rapid strength gains and fat loss. Check out the Exerscribe workout app in the iTunes App Store today. In today's podcast, I interview health coach Yuri Elkaim. Yuri Elkaim is a registered holistic nutritionist, fitness expert, and highly sought after high-performance health coach. He's also a former professional soccer player and served as the head strength and conditioning and nutrition coach for men's soccer at the University of Toronto for 7 seasons. For more than 13 years, he's empowered hundreds of thousands of people to greater health with his no-nonsense approach to health, fitness, and nutrition. Yuri has made it his mission to empower at least 10 million people to greater health and fitness by 2018. Hey everyone, we're here on Exerscribe Radio with health coach Yuri Elkaim. Welcome, Yuri.
How's it going, buddy? Thanks for having me.
So just to get started, could you tell the audience a little bit about you and your background?
Yeah, so I started off, for most of my life up until I was 24, my sole kind of purpose was to play professional soccer. So that was a goal that I had set from a very young age. And I was able to eventually accomplish that in my early 20s. But during my teens, even though I was very fit and active, I didn't realize that I wasn't healthy. So I grew up eating a lot of processed foods, a lot of grains, cereal, pastas, breads, sugar, dairy, all that good stuff, right? So I didn't realize at the time, but a lot of that food led me to develop a lot of health issues, digestive problems, eczema, asthma, really low energy. And by the time I was 17, I lost all of my hair to an autoimmune condition. So for about 8 years, I had no solutions to any of that, and kind of went off and played soccer. Before that, I actually studied kinesiology and health sciences at the University of Toronto. And when I was 24, I realized that I didn't want to play soccer anymore. I had an epiphany that something else was my bigger calling. So I came back to Toronto, and I enrolled in studies in holistic nutrition, and very quickly realized that all of my health issues were related to the foods that I was and was not eating. So when I cleaned all that up, it really kind of transformed my health in the space of a couple of weeks, and it just kind of put me on a path that I've been on now for 14 years. And we've helped a lot of people around the world, hundreds of thousands of people to more energy, better health, improved fitness in a very short period of time without radical gimmicks and fad diets. So that's really my claim to fame, is helping people have a lot more energy very quickly without using caffeine or sugar or other stimulants, but showing them how to do that in a much more sustainable fashion.
That's awesome. Well, what was your experience like as a strength and conditioning coach?
It was great. I mean, it's something that, I went to the University of Toronto as a student, and I played soccer there. And when I came back from France, when I was playing over there, I was invited to the coaching staff because they needed a strength and conditioning person. And so I said, yeah, for sure. So I literally volunteered for 7 years at the University of Toronto as their head strength and conditioning coach and nutrition coach. And I really enjoyed it because I enjoyed working with clients because I was a trainer and nutritionist at the time. So I was working one-on-one with kind of everyday people, if you will. But I also got to use the athletes at the university as my guinea pigs. So I got to try out a lot of things on them on the field, in the training, in the weight room, as well as nutritionally, to see how we can improve their performance, speed the recovery, and take some of that back to like regular people. And it was a great 7 years. So I'm really happy that I was able to do that.
That's awesome. How come you decided to go the route of becoming a registered holistic nutritionist?
So it was funny because when I was personal training, I thought that I was training clients 10 to 12 hours a day and eating bagels and great food like that between sessions, and I had no idea about nutrition. So through a series of events, I was introduced to this nutrition school in Toronto, and I thought, oh, this would be great knowledge for me to share with my clients, because I'm always thinking about how I can learn something and then apply it for other people. So that was my initial kind of motivation, and I didn't realize until I got there that this was actually what I needed for myself. So that was initially, it was kind of, for my clients that I did it, but then I realized this essentially was really for myself. And going through that process and that journey, I learned more in 1.5 years there than I did in my entire life, including 4 years at one of the top universities in the world when it comes to nutrition. And sadly, a lot of the stuff that was taught by our professors who are naturopathic doctors and alternative healers is stuff you never hear about in Western medicine or in traditional schools or colleges. So I was really passionate about getting that message out to more people, because I was like, wow, if I didn't know this and I was very active and had gone through all these studies, there must be billions of people who don't either. So that was my initial motivation with that.
So would you recommend for people to still go through formal education and still go to places like the University of Toronto?
Well, for people that live in Toronto, I tell them never go to the University of Toronto. I tell them go somewhere small, go to a school that's in the middle of nowhere, enjoy the experience, right? Don't worry about getting your grades. For me personally, I'm so happy. I was a straight A student. I graduated summa cum laude, top of my class. But I'm really happy that I'm not at school anymore, because I've learned 1,000 times more about health, about business, about life outside of school than I did inside of it. Now, having said that, what I do today, I probably would not be able to do had I not had the backgrounds academically. Physiology, to understand physiology is a huge asset when you can then take that and apply it to how to improve people's lives. So learning physiology, anatomy, biomechanics, athletic conditioning, all that stuff, those are huge assets. And I don't think I would have had that ability without that. So you can definitely kind of in a self-directed form do that online or kind of outside formal schools. But I think, really be honest with yourself. If you think you're going to school to get a degree, to get a job, the world is changing. And I know a lot of classmates of mine, I'm the only kind of entrepreneurial person that came out of my class of 110 people. Everyone else went into teaching, physiotherapy, chiropractic, and they're still struggling to either find what they want to do or have enough money and time to enjoy the freedom that they really want in their lives. So I'm really fortunate that I took my path of being a little bit more proactive and being a little bit more of a risk taker to getting my message out to more people outside of the traditional kind of get a job type of route. So, yeah.
Yeah, just like you, I kind of come from the personal training background in that industry. What are some of the pitfalls that you see in the personal training industry as a whole?
I think that, so I used to be of the opinion that if you didn't have a degree, you weren't worthy of training people. But then I realized, I'm like, you know what, it doesn't matter. If you've taken a weekend course and you can help somebody lose weight in a safe and effective manner, that's amazing. You don't need to have a PhD to be able to help people. But I think, one of the biggest pitfalls is not understanding. I see this a lot of times. Trainers try to be cute and really creative with a lot of their workouts, and they have beginners do things like squats on Bosu balls while balancing one dumbbell over their head, or ridiculous stuff that has no transfer into the objective that they're looking to achieve. And this is something that I realized very early on, training as a soccer player as well as a strength and conditioning coach afterwards, was as a trainer, your goal is to prepare an individual or train an individual as closely as possible to their stated objective. So if they want to lose weight, there's really no sense in having them do single-legged Bosu ball squats, right? If somebody is I remember I had a lady who was on the Canadian curling team for the Olympics, and she was a client of mine a number of years ago. So we devised workouts that were super specific to curling. Everything that we did was basically created from scratch. We had a couple of foundational movements, but other than that, it was very specific to the movement patterns and the demands of her sport. So when I see people that are, let's say, 50 pounds overweight and they're doing ridiculous exercises that are going to injure them or produce very few results, it's a bit of it's kind of frustrating sometimes. But I think it's on the trainer or the coach to educate themselves, to continue learning, to figure out, okay, well, either this is working or it's not. What are some other methods I can use, and how can I best help this person towards their goals? So I think the pitfall of not kind of programming their workouts properly, whether it be specific exercises or intensity or kind of setup, but also nutritionally, I think a lot of trainers are very clueless when it comes to nutrition. And I was guilty, like big time, way back in the day, until I really learned how to show people and myself how to eat properly.
Yeah, it's really interesting because back in 2007 when I first got certified, I was really drinking the Kool-Aid of all the mainstream certifications like NASM and ACE and all those guys out there. And more recently, I've gotten more into the exotic certifications that may not be even accredited, like your Precision Nutritions, your Z Health. And it was funny, the other day I could have sworn that I think I saw a quote by you on Dr. Cobb's website about the Vision Gym or something like that on there. About Z Health, and I'm really into that stuff. I'm actually going to the R phase next month, and I see that everything's kind of headed in that direction. I'm seeing that, one of the things I see is that all these trainers are, like you said, they're focused on the wrong things. They're trying to train body parts, and they're not treating it as holistically. And Dr. Cobb looks at it from the standpoint of the brain and the neural approach, which is so much more effective, so much faster to get results. What do you think about Z Health?
He's a great friend of mine, and his stuff, which is like neurology based, is incredible. So yeah, it's really good stuff.
Do you use some of those concepts and exercises in your program?
Yeah, I mean, I don't train clients anymore, but in how I train myself, I mean, I'd used his Vision Gym for a number of years, I would say a number of months, because I was actually training to get my pilot's license, and I knew that vision was an issue for me, and I didn't want to fail my vision part of my medical. So I used the Vision Gym leading up to that, and I scored more than perfect on my vision test. And I was like, wow, this is really this is crazy, because when I was about 12 years old, my optometrist told me that I would never be able to fly a plane because I had red-green color blindness. So that I was like, there's no way, because at the time, Top Gun was like my favorite movie of all time. So to go from that to being like, oh yeah, I can see these ink blots, no problem. I can see in the distance and all that great stuff better than 20/20 was amazing. So a lot of that was attributed to Vision Gym. And even in my own workouts, the warm-ups that I'll do, a lot of it's kind of R phase type stuff, neurology-based warm-ups. So I incorporate that into what I do, as well as recommending a lot of Dr. Cobb stuff to my own followers.
That's awesome. Tell me about the Y factor. What is it, and who's it best for?
So the Y factor was it's a free gift that I have on my blog, and I'm not too sure if the Y factor is the best name, but it's essentially an appetizer to what makes me different and unique from everything else out there. So with the Y factor, we give basically you have two gifts that come with that. You have the How to Double Your Energy report and my total body conditioning workout. So because I do a lot of stuff in fitness and nutrition, I wanted to give people a taste of both of those worlds. So with the Double Your Energy report, you'll learn exactly 3 very quick and actionable things you can do to double your energy in 48 hours or less. And it sounds like a grandiose claim, but the reality is that you can dramatically improve your energy with some very simple tips, and you'll discover how to do that in that report. And the total body conditioning workout is me guiding you through your workout. Now, so when I first came online in 2006 or 7, I can't even remember, I didn't want to create another ebook in the fitness space. I wanted to create something unique that would serve people and bridge the gap between working out by yourself and having to hire a trainer. So basically I stumbled upon an idea where I would record my voice, and basically people could download it, and on their headphones they would have me coach them through their workouts. And so this is just when the iPad had come out. There's nothing else out there like that. So all of the workouts I've produced since then are all audio guided. So it's me step-by-step coaching you through your workout with some really cool music in the background. And it's like having me as a virtual trainer. So wherever you are, at home, while you're traveling in the gym, you have a trainer with you. All you have to do is press play. So the total body conditioning workout gives people a sense of what that's like and what they're missing when they're working out by themselves. Because the reality is that if you're not able to push yourself on your own, most people are not able to push themselves on their own. Definitely not as much as having a trainer would do for them. And the next best thing is to have somebody on your headphones to give you that encouragement and that extra little push that you would simply not get on your own. So with my workouts, what they'll get with Total Body Conditioning 1 is really this part of the Y factor is they'll get to experience what it's like to work out with myself on their headphones. So instead of working out by themselves, our whole tagline is you'll never work out alone. And that's because you can just download the workout onto your iPod or MP3 player, and you'll have me with you whenever you go to the gym or when you're traveling or even if you're at home. So, it makes a big difference in terms of results because you're able to get that extra little push that you wouldn't get on your own. And so the Y factor is really a combination of kind of my secret sauce with my workouts, which are for the most part high intensity, lower duration, lower frequency. So you're getting much better results in about a third of the time. And on the nutrition side, showing you how to have a lot more energy, but as a byproduct, also helping you lose weight and improve your health. So that's kind of what the Y factor is.
So I noticed you're coming out with a book called The All-Day Energy Diet. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so The All-Day Energy Diet is a published book. It's published by Hay House. And for a number of years, I had taken – basically, I talked to the CEO of Hay House, and I said, listen, I've got an amazing idea for you that I think would crush it. And because there's really nobody else talking about energy in the published world. And so I thought, okay, why not take what's been working well for us online, where I've been teaching a lot of this energy stuff, and making it very mass market applicable. So the All-Day Energy Diet shows people how to overcome 7 obstacles standing in their way of all-day energy, and it shows them how to double their energy in 7 days or less. And again, it sounds like a very kind of grandiose claim, and the reason I can say that is because we've helped thousands of people with this very same protocol over the last couple of years, and it's almost algorithmic. When you understand how the body operates and how simple kind of small hinges swing big doors, it's amazing when you see person after person talk about, wow, I feel so much better after 1 day. By 7 days, I have more mental clarity, less stiffness in my joints, more energy. I've lost up to 7 pounds. I've gotten over my cravings. And when you see that consistently, there's something that is very fundamental to what's happening inside people's bodies. So that's what I show people how to do inside the book. And it's an amazing journey to really kind of help people understand what's standing in their way and give them a better understanding of how their body operates so they can make some very simple shifts that make a profound difference.
That's awesome. What would you say some of the challenges are that you encountered when you switched from one-on-one training to helping hundreds of thousands of people online?
I would say from a business perspective, really not knowing what I was doing for the first couple of years. I didn't have a mentor. I decided I'm going to figure this thing out kind of on my own. And I kind of buried my head in the sand and just did my thing, sat in front of my computer, just typing out SEO articles all day, and then didn't really have a game plan of where I was going, or even have a roadmap of what was, successful in the space. So that was the difficult part because, the first year I think I made maybe like $6,000 in sales online. And I had basically told my clients that I was transitioning fully away from training to focusing on my online business. So initially I took a bit of, quite a cut in terms of my income, but I knew that down the road it was a much better investment because I believed that from day one. So the initial couple of years were of no faults other than my own, just due to stubbornness and not being willing to seek out help and seek out other people, not really knowing what to do. So that all changed about 3 years in when I decided to find a mentor, to find a coach, join a mastermind, and start attending live events where I could actually meet people and develop some really important relationships. And that was a huge catalyst for my business because since then I basically know pretty much everybody in the space now online, within the online community, I guess. And that would not have happened had I continued to just bury my head in the sand and do my own thing.
Definitely. What would you say some of the greatest success stories you had were?
For me personally?
Yeah.
I would say one of the biggest ones would be obviously getting my book published and moving from digital only to now digital in the published world, because I think there's a huge symbiosis there. And it's pretty cool actually to see more people in our space doing that, because I think there's a huge opportunity. I think also, really raising the bar for the quality of products online. I don't claim to be the first one to do this, but at least within the fitness and nutrition space online, from the first day, from day one, we really set out to be unique and provide a really high quality experience for our customers. And I found initially when people just said, yeah, just get your stuff online, create a Word document, turn it into a PDF, and throw it up online. I thought, that's okay for a little bit, but people are going to start to value a nicer looking, product or program, because perceived value online is really important. Because if people are downloading something, you have to show them that if they paid $47 or $10 or $100 for a PDF or an audio or a video, there's got to be some type of perceived value there that's going to be like, wow, this is beautiful, as opposed to looking like a piece of crap that a lot of people are putting out, way back in the day. So I've noticed that trend has changed in the last 2 years, where there's a lot more kind of beautiful websites, really nice looking PDFs, and just the overall quality of products has improved. So I like to think that I kind of within our space was one of the kind of the pioneers in that movement. And also just, we've helped hundreds of thousands of people, and it's very easy to forget that each one of those is an individual person who you've impacted. And I've never met any of these individuals. So there's people in the middle of nowhere, Australia, or in Canada, the US, Europe, that I've never met, but I've impacted them in some way, either through my YouTube videos that they can watch for free, or through one of our paid products. So that's probably what I'm most proud of, is the individual kind of touch points that our stuff has been able to help people with. And our goal is to help 10 million people by 2018. So we're definitely on the right path.
That's awesome. That's a great goal. What are some of the success stories you had with clients? What are some of the best ones that really stand out?
Man, there's so many of them. I would say one of them that kind of just stands out is we had a lady in Australia who was on Australia's Got Talent. Or not Australia's Got Talent. It was the oh my god, the singing reality show in the States. The biggest, whatever the voice, not the Biggest Loser, but whatever the America's Got Talent version is, or whatever that show is called. For Australia, we had a lady go through our Eating for Energy program, which was kind of the precursor to the All Day Energy Diet book. And she noticed that even though the dietary approach was about kind of improving energy, she noticed that it had huge impacts on her vocal ability. So she was able to sing much more eloquently or more efficiently. Her vocal cords were not as coarse after singing as much. And so that was a really obscure byproduct of just eating that way. So she sent us this testimonial of like the fact that she was on this cool reality show and kind of giving us credit for that. Other than that, we've had people lose, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, and just from watching my YouTube videos. And so there's so many to kind of choose from. I can't even think of specifics off the top of my head anymore. But every time I see a question or a comment on Facebook, saying, thank you so much for your video. My wife and I have been watching your stuff for years, and we've lost 53 pounds, and now our kids are eating healthier. All that kind of stuff is pretty awesome.
That's great. That's really awesome. Where do you get a lot of your information from? How do you stay on the cutting edge?
With respect to
health and fitness?
Health and fitness? Mm-hmm. Nowadays, I look at, to be honest, I'm not into ongoing certification courses and continuing education credits. I like to really mastermind with others. So I have kind of a peer group, whether it be Dr. Cobb or other people in our space, who I always turn to for advice on specific topic areas. And I'll go through their material. I'll be like, listen, if you're the best person on thyroid issues, I'm just gonna read your stuff. I'm gonna talk to you about this stuff. If I have a specific issue relating to vision or warm-up patterns or whatever, I'm gonna talk to Eric about how to improve all this. He helped me overcome a shoulder injury within 5 minutes, pretty much.
Wow.
Of doing some exercises. So being able to read stuff is great, but when you can get it right from the horse's mouth, that for me is kind of just accelerated learning. So that's traditionally kind of what I do now for a lot of my learning, because I don't have a lot of time to spend like reading hours and hours of stuff anymore. So I just kind of cut to the chase and go right to the source.
What is it about coaching specifically that you love the most?
I think it's about helping people prevent mistakes that you made and helping them to accelerate their success. So, you know, if somebody doesn't know how to get from A to B and they don't have a roadmap, they're not going to get there, or they might, but it's going to take them a long time, and it's going to take a lot of zigs and zags along that course. So if you can come in and show somebody, here's where you are, here's where you want to get to, here's the roadmap to do that, and understanding there's a lot of ways to the same goal, but showing people a method that, based on who they are and how they operate, might be best for them. So just helping people accelerate that process and being able to be a hero for them, to help them. Ultimately, my goal with, whether it's, fitness, health, nutrition clients or business clients, is to help them be healthier, fitter, more successful than I am, because I don't really care about being the top. I just want to help elevate people to the top of their game. So that's really what I enjoy.
What about your own personal health and fitness? What have been some of your own obstacles and challenges?
Well, for 20-something years of my life, really low energy, eczema, asthma, digestive difficulties, like daily nonsense, like crazy stuff. When I was 17, I developed an autoimmune condition where it's called alopecia. Lost all of my hair in the space of 6 weeks. And when I went back to school to study holistic nutrition, when I was 25, within about 6 weeks to 2 months, I regrew all of my hair. And obviously now I don't have any. So about 3 years ago, it started to fall out again. And with autoimmune conditions, you never really cure them. They're just kind of like always there. Either they're kind of dormant or they kind of come up and down. So about 3 years ago when we had our first son, I think that first year of having a child was a little more stressful than I anticipated. And I didn't I don't think I dealt with it in terms of stress management as well as I would have or would have liked to. So I think that kind of flared up my autoimmune condition and I started falling out again. So it's, for me, I don't really care about the hair because I feel great. I feel terrific. All my health markers are good. Maybe there's some kind of inflammatory markers here and there with respect to the autoimmune condition, but that's no big deal for me. So, I mean, the eczema is gone. My asthma is pretty much at bay. My energy is much, much greater than it used to be. And, I feel that even though I've given up or I've kind of retired from soccer, I feel that if I were to go back and play professionally now, with obviously some good training leading up to that, I would probably perform better than I did 14 years ago, just because mentally I'm much more sharp, much more aware of kind of a lot of other things, and nutritionally, like 1,000 times more advanced than I was in the past. So in terms of recovery, in terms of performance, that would have been a huge thing. But it's all good. I mean, I play occasionally now. I love playing tennis. I work out, play with my kids, so it's all good.
So what does your lifestyle look like in terms of exercise and nutrition?
So it really varies. I mean, I'm not one to stick to a very set schedule. It's not my personality. So today, for instance, I woke up at 6:30. I had to get a bunch of work done for this book. So I just cranked out a bunch of work in the morning, and then around lunch, I started off the day with the green juice. Then I had a cereal called Fiber Starter, which is obviously doesn't come from a box. Hemp seeds, chia seeds, ground up walnuts, flax seeds, walnuts, threw in some goji berries and almond milk. And that's kind of like a more substantial kind of breakfast after the green juice. And then about an hour to probably 2 hours later, I decided to go run some hills. So I just, it was boiling hot here. Ran about 6 hill sprints, went to Starbucks, grabbed a tea, walked back to my place, and been working for the last little bits. And then tonight I'll have probably a bigger salad, another smoothie or a juice. And, I spend a lot of my time in the morning, not a lot of my time, but I should say a lot of my mornings doing kind of recovery stuff. So like yoga, myofascial release, and different things to keep me limber and loose. Because unfortunately nowadays I spend most of my time either standing, like I'm standing right now in front of my computer, or sitting. So unless you're moving around, things tend to get stiff. So I do my best every day to kind of limber things up and keep, fluid. Because we have 3 kids under 4, most of my workouts now are in my backyard. So I'll do a lot of kettlebell work, hill sprints I love doing. If I ever find a good flight of stairs, I'll crank out a huge stair workout. Occasionally I'll go to the gym. I've kind of, in the summertime, I don't go to the gym as much, but if I'm at the gym, it's bigger movements, deadlifts, squats, pull-ups. Keeping it kind of to the foundational principles. And yeah, my goal is not really to get big. It's just to kind of stay strong and fit. I play tennis once or twice a week, so that's really one of my big passions. And yeah, that's kind of what a typical day looks like for me.
I like it. Are there any books you're reading right now that you would recommend to the audience?
Yeah, a really good book for business is called Ready, Fire, Aim by Michael Masterson. It's probably the most all-in-one complete book that I've read, other than Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. So those are 2 really good books. What else? I'm reading Purpose-Driven Life by Pastor Rick Warren. So those are the 3 or 2 books that are on the go right now.
That's awesome. Where do you see the future of health and fitness going? I mean, where is everything headed?
I think it's headed in the right direction. I mean, I think especially when you're in urbanized cities, like I'm in Toronto, if you go to New York or LA or somewhere where you're not in the middle of boonies, people are more health conscious, right? You're seeing more juice bars pop up, which is a great indication of this consciousness of kind of moving towards eating healthier. Seeing more yoga studios pop up all over the place. People are more active, people are working out, and I think it's moving in the right direction. And I think the big challenge is moving against food companies and hopefully, getting them eventually to kind of put a foot on the brake, because as much as we try to work out and do things properly, a lot of people are addicted to foods and they kind of fall back into conditional ways of eating, which sabotages a lot of their progress in the gym or with their fitness in general. So I think individually we're more conscious or moving in a better direction. And I'm hoping that food companies, whether it's on their own or through a bit of a kick in the ass from individuals like ourselves and other people in our space, to get them to reconsider what they're doing so that the population as a whole can improve their health. Because statistically, health doesn't really look good in 10, 15 years from now. I mean, I don't know what the specific stats are, the specific numbers, but it's not getting better projecting from where we are today. So I think even though we're more active, there needs to be some big shifts that happen on a macro level to ensure that we don't become, fat, obese, and sick to a much greater degree than we already are.
Do you think technology is helping or hurting that?
I mean, it's both. I mean, I think, technology, you can use technology or you can be used by technology. So as an example, most people on Facebook spend their time, or I should say waste their time on Facebook, looking at other people's feeds or other people's walls, and then they feel worse about themselves because everyone else is displaying what's working so well in their lives. The reality is that that's a glorified Hall of Fame for most people. They don't really show what's happening. But just using Facebook as an example, as a business owner, if you spent half of that time figuring out how to run Facebook ads to your business, you would have a very different outcome than somebody spending that time just looking at people's messages and Facebook walls. So I think you can use technology or let it use you, and you have to be very conscious of that, because I think with the iPhone or Androids or whatever smartphones you have, it's too easy to get sucked into email. It's too easy to get sucked into Facebook or Instagram or other things, where a lot of it is reactive. It's not proactive. So a lot of, myself included, a lot of times, it's let me see who sent me a message, as opposed to let me think about something that I can do proactively inside my email account. Let me write an email to somebody that's going to actually move a project forward, as opposed to always just checking the email out of compulsion. So I think there has to be more mindful. Just like when we're eating, you have to be more present with our food, more mindful with it. The same idea with our technology.
What's one simple thing you would recommend our listeners start with today to improve their health and fitness?
Easiest thing to do is start your day with a green juice or a green smoothie. If you did nothing else and you just kept eating McDonald's 7 days a week, it would be a lot better if you just started your day with 4 to 6 servings of fruits and vegetables, which you would get by making a half a liter of green juice or green smoothie. It's really simple to do, and it'll transform your life.
What kind of things would you put in that smoothie?
So you could do, so I'll give you a smoothie recipe because smoothies are probably a little bit easier for most people. So take a head of kale or Swiss chard or spinach or lettuce, whichever one you want. 1 banana, 1 apple, 1 pear. Take the juice of 1 lime, squeeze it in, and add in about 2 to 3 cups of water. You can also add in about a half a handful of cilantro, and that'll give you about 6 servings of vegetables and fruit, and that'll give you about 3 cups worth of green smoothie. There it is. It's like that'll take you literally 2 minutes to make, and the difference is by getting more nutrients in, more alkalinity. It's undescribable how much better you'll feel after a couple of days of that.
That's awesome. Excellent tip. Well, I really want to thank you for your time today, Yuri, and hopefully when you come visit San Diego, we'll get together soon.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks again. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Ciao.
If you haven't already, get your custom workout program by downloading the Exerscribe app from the iTunes App Store today.